Climb through the clutter. These are the hard facts. Samantha Cunningham, and this week on Hard Facts, I want to talk to you about how you can't save your way to sales. That's right, I said you can't save your way to sales. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're increasing your sales goals monthly, but not touching your advertising budget, that's where we've got to start. But maybe you've got an advertising budget that's a little out of whack to begin with. You may already say, well, you know what, Samantha, I'm over budget. I can't afford to add any additional dollars to support my increased sales goals or even my current sales goals. I'm not meeting them, so how can I add more money in? Well, you know what, maybe you need to take a look at what you're counting as advertising costs. So many times I take a look at dealers' budgets and say, well, let's just start from what we've got as advertising costs, what we've got as community involvement, what's on digital, what's on traditional. Let's start there. I've got a dealer who we worked with and they came to us and they said, here's our advertising budget. Well, on there was $8,000 a month worth of coffee. That's awesome. Serve your customers as much coffee as they can drink, but don't put it on my advertising budget. And I mean it. That's not something that's going to help me advertise your vehicles, get those leads in the door. I know you can sell that car once they get there, but I need that $8,000 to be able to drive those leads. From there, I'm going to track your closing ratio. I'm going to track your cost per lead. And what you need to be able to do is say, this form of media produces for us, and we need to remove maybe this radio sponsorship. A good example is I've got a dealer in a Houston market. Recently, their radio stations have rolled out new sponsorship tiers. Now my exclusive sponsorship is no longer valid. It's not going to produce for me when I'm competing with 7 other dealers because there's different sponsorship levels. Evaluate and consistently evaluate your media. Get rid of that fluff and focus on what's going to produce for you. Chances are you may be one of those dealers that already has a very effective advertising budget. Well, here's something for that. So you're spending effectively. You're doing everything right. Your budget is completely allocated to the appropriate fields, but you've got bigger goals. Or maybe you're not even hitting your sales goals completely right now. Well, have you taken a look at your market specifically? According to NADA, you should be spending over $600 as a cost per unit, but maybe you're currently budgeted at $300 or $350. That's not going to work if you're that dealer in that Houston market. So there's an area where you do need to spend more to make more, to be more competitive and gain those leads. A really great example as well is if you're a CJDR dealership. So many times we have CJDR clients who are over-segmented in their budget because they only have a few $1,000s to spend. There's a great example of where a dealership is going to be performing as best as possible, but could always use additional funds allocated to their budget to increase their goals month over month and year over year. So it's important to take a look at what your long-term goals are, what your 120-day goals are, not just your monthly goals when you're projecting to increase units or even to get in line with everything. And so what I mean is really take a look at where everything is allocated, what is a true advertising expense, what's performing for you, and even take a look at that traditional media. From there, you need to decide if your dealership should be spending today for tomorrow. That's just another example of how a hard fact turns into a solid strategy. Like, tweet, or comment below on a topic you'd like me to cover, and I'll see you next week.